Alright, I am back with a second collection video. I'm Paul from Collect on the Co-Vinyl Manager, winging this thing again. I pulled out some more records and playing one for the background now. Listening to The Damnation of Adam Blessing. This is their first album on United Artists. Very cool psychedelic hard rock stuff out of Cleveland, Ohio, and then this is their second one, the second Damnation, also on United Artists. Yeah, thought that might be a good record to make some background music for this video. Pulled some more records out. I'm just gonna go through them and talk about them a little bit, and yeah, just kind of winging it today. But first up, it's a reissue, but 50-Foot Hose Cauldron, definitely ahead of its time. Very San Francisco era, or San Francisco Psych, like late 60s, but they used a lot of electronic noises as well. What's that guy's name? Cork Marcheski. Cork Marcheski was the guy that did all the electronic stuff on this album, and yeah, I love that artwork too. That is the original artwork. Yeah, one of these days I'll track down an original copy of that. But very psyched out, male and female vocals, really cool guitar work, almost some progressive rock elements in there as well. And then, yeah, same, well, not same vibe, but similar vibe. Fear Itself, definitely more blues driven. She kind of has a Janis Joplin type of a vocal delivery. So if you like Janis Joplin, you might want to check this one out. It's on the Dot label. And they do a really cool cover of In My Time of Dying. Maybe not as good as the Led Zeppelin one, but it's definitely worth listening to. And I think it runs for pretty good, yeah, about 8 minutes and 44 seconds. But yeah, Fear Itself, very good. Very good. Bluesy, psych. Yeah, I'm just running through these things, but this is Family Music in a Doll's House. This album is extremely psychedelic, really good. It's produced by Dave Mason from Traffic, and yeah, it's an original UK copy on the Tricolor Steamboat label of Reprise. It's a stereo copy, and I don't know, yeah, Mellowing Gray is fantastic. What's that other one? Hey Mr. Policeman, See Through Windows, Voyage is all, I don't know. The whole album kind of runs together too. It's well thought out and well played, well written. I highly recommend checking out Family Music in a Doll's House. Underrated, great album. This one really stands out on the shelf. That font is super thick on the spine, but the Farm Band. This is a double LP from these hippies in Tennessee in the early 70s. Let's see if I can get a good picture of this. The inside of the gatefold, there they are. Look at those hippies. Some really killer playing and jamming on this thing. It's a little bit spotty. The vocals and lyrics are kind of very okay, but when they get rocking, it's really good. Really, really good. And I like the label too. Pretty cool label. It's on, was it Mantra? Yeah, the album opens with a song called Om, and it's just them going Om for like 2.5 minutes or something. It definitely gets you in the right headspace for what's to come. There's a few like the side-long tracks on this one. The best one's probably the closer. on side D, called I Believe. It's like 17 or 18 minutes, but it's worth it. Really good. Next is Eternity's Children. This is a original US mono copy on Tower Records. If you know like Sagittarius or the Millennium or any of that, then you might be familiar with the producer Kurt Botcher. He I believe he produced this with like a collective that he was in called Cracked Foxes. Yeah, here's the label on that. It's just really solid 60s psych pop kind of stuff. Sunshine pop, even real lush. Doesn't really get too wigged out or anything, but it's just super solid. Really solid if you like pop psych, I guess. Worth investigation. Just moving on. I just pulled stuff from like the D's through like the F's, maybe just a few things here and there. Yeah, just winging it like I said. Yeah, Boston band, Eden's Children. This is their self-titled album, and they only put 2 records out. They both came out in the same year. I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is actually their second one, even though it's self-titled. But yeah, it's also produced by Bob Thiel, who produced a bunch of jazz stuff. Like, if you look at some John Coltrane records, or I don't know, a lot of the stuff that was on ABC in the jazz vein was produced by Bob Thiel, and this thing goes hard. It's great. The second side especially, Just Let Go, Out Where the Lightfish Live, and Don't Tell Me are just killer. And this guy right here is an underrated guitar player. Just fantastic. Richard Shamik. He also went by the nickname Sham. Really good guitar player. I don't know how to explain. You just kind of have to listen to it. It's not on. Their stuff's not on Spotify or anything, but I think the whole album is on YouTube. If you want to give that a listen, great, very 60s looking album cover too. Eden's Children, not to be confused with the last one. It was Eternity's Children. I pulled 3 of these out. I know we get these records a lot, but I still don't think he gets the credit that he's due. This is Emitt Rhodes. This is his self-titled. I've also got Mirror and a white label promo, Farewell to Paradise. But if you like the Beatles and like Paul McCartney, like his brand of Beatles music, it's the good sunshine pop kind of stuff. You haven't listened to Emitt Rhodes, you're doing yourself a disservice. He wrote, played, and produced, I think, everything on this album, and it is fantastic. It's not overly long or anything, just, yeah, give it a listen. He just died, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, and I feel like nobody noticed. It was very sad. But Emitt Rhodes, fantastic. This next little crop of records that I set to the side is stuff that, like, sorry about the chair squeaking around. It's like side project bands or bands that some like famous musicians maybe played on before they made it big with a different group or whatever. This is more along the lines of the first thing that I mentioned. I don't even know what I said exactly, but this is the Dukes of Stratosphere, Sonic Sunspot. It's the original UK copy on like marbled purple vinyl. I don't know how well that's showing up on the camera. Probably just looks black. It's like a dark purple marble kind of thing, but the Dukes of Stratosphere is actually XTC. think it was this one here. Oh, yeah, I guess I'll show that. This was the first one they put out. It's just like a mini LP or an EP, 25 o'clock. Also cool, it's on that, Virgin label. Or I don't know if it's on the Virgin label. I think it might just be kind of a nod to it. No, it is on Virgin. Okay, good. That would, it looks way too much like it to not be it, so that makes sense. Like I said, I'm just winging this. But they put this out, I think, as like an April Fool's Day joke or something, and it's great. If you like 60s psychedelic stuff, both of these. It's really good. Sonic Sunspot and 25 o'clock. They do not sound like they came out in the 80s at all. They're pretty true to like the 60s style and sound, and even the recording techniques are on point. Andy Partridge, great songwriter. I thought about playing one of these for the background, but I don't know, maybe I'll do that in a different video. I also thought that the Damnation of Adam Blessing would have maybe there's less of a chance that it would get pulled down or muted or something, but Dust. This is their self-titled on Kama Sutra of all labels, and then Dust, Heart Attack, both original copies, and this is killer. Proto-metal. I mean, look at that artwork. It's what's that artist's name that did like the Conan stuff? Frank Frazetta, yeah. I don't know how I blanked on his name. Both of these are fantastic. Heavy, but the cool thing about this is that the drummer in this band was Mark Bell. I guess you can see that up there, right? Yeah. I'm struggling to get it out of the light. Yep, Mark Bell. He is also known as Marky Ramone. He took over on drums for Tommy Ramone in like 79 or something, I want to say. This does not sound like the Ramones. This sounds like this heavy, aggressive hard rock, and it's killer. If you're into that kind of stuff, check out Dust. Moving on. Yeah, I only pulled out one jazz record for this video, but it's a doozy, and I can't believe how I found this one about a year ago. Just super clean. Dorothy Ashby, Afro Harping on Cadet Records, which was a just subsidiary of Chess. And here's that original Cadet label. It's, yeah, I mean, she's playing the harp, but it is kind of funky at times. Almost lounge music, but just really good. Good background or foreground music, depending on how you're feeling. Richard Evans did the arrangements and produced it, and it's solid, lush, killer. Love that album cover too. But yeah, Dorothy Ashby, Afro Harping. What else? There's a few like Psych, folk rock records or whatever. Yeah, this is a prime example of me preferring to get like original copies from the country that it was recorded in. Because I mean, you can find US copies of this pretty often, and I mean, it sounds just as good probably, but Fairport Convention, Legion, Leaf, this is a original UK copy on the Pink Island label. Fantastic. I mean, Matty Groves is classic. Matty Groves, what's that other one? Tam Lin, I think. Yeah, Tam Lin. Yeah, Richard Thompson, one of my favorite guitar players. He's got a really distinct style. And then obviously Sandy Denny on vocals is fantastic. And then I've also got original UK copy of Unhalf Bricking also on the UK Island label. This is the first one. I think this is like the block eye is what they call it. There's like different variations of the Island label, as you can tell just from these two. Like there's that and that. I think this one was first, and then this was like third. I don't know. There's like 3 or 4, maybe 5 different variations of the Pink Island label. But yeah, Unhalfbreaking is kind of tough to find in the US. They did release it in the US, but it has a different cover on it as well. I think it's like an elephant maybe on the cover. And this cover is real subtle, but this is this old couple, and then there's the band hanging out. I should have researched this. There's something odd about where they are. I think they're in some kind of like royal court or something, like somewhere they're definitely not supposed to be, and maybe that's why later issues didn't use this original cover. Maybe you guys know better than I do. I mean, I could Google it, but I should have done that before I started the video because I'm a little hazy. It's been a while since I've looked into that. But also, if you like Fairport Convention, you like the weird folk rock kind of stuff. Well, I don't know. This one's probably, I mean, it's definitely more in the Incredible String Band vein, but Forest is killer, and also great artwork. It's really detailed, colorful. I don't think John Peel didn't produce this, but he wrote the liner notes, and they're hilarious. I kind of want to just read like the first couple lines, maybe. In the autumn of a year which historians have, with the aid of carbon dating, pinpointed as 1968, I was in the gay carbon monoxide cloud some authorities call Birmingham, in pursuit of a lady with what I considered to be a dangerously high nubility quotient. During a fruitless search conducted, need it be said, in the pure scientific spirit, contact was made with a young man calling himself Mark Williams, obviously an assumed name. And it just goes on and on and on. It's ridiculous. Very 60s, but yeah, it's on the Harvest label. So you kind of know what you're getting yourself into there. They put out slightly left field stuff. I mean, Pink Floyd's probably the most successful band on that label, but some other killer obscurities on there, and Forest is one of them. Like I said, if you like that British acid folk, psych folk kind of stuff, that should be up your alley. Yeah. I only pulled out a couple of punk records or punk adjacent records for this one. If you remember a few months ago at Coleco, you might be a little upset to see this one. You might be like, I remember seeing Fugazi Repeater in a video. Where'd that go? Well, I had to get it. Sorry, guys. It was too nice, and I don't have this one. But now I do. Classic punk record. Ian MacKaye from Minor Threat. Yeah, it's just, I couldn't not get this one. It's an original French pressing from 1990. Yeah. Shut the Door. Yeah. Repeater, the title track. Just great. I have listened to it many times since I brought it home on the Discord label. Actually, I think the jacket was made in France or something. It's like labeled as a U.S. pressing. I don't know. It's one of those funky things, but probably like this one even more than a Fugazi record. Hate to say it, but I think I found this at a record store like 4 or 5 years ago for 10 or 15 bucks, something stupid. But this is a original copy of Crazy Rhythms by the Feelies on what label was this on? Stiff Records. This is great. It's not punk like you would think with, like, I don't know, the Stooges. Well, Some people don't call that punk. I call the Stooges punk. But it's not like the Dead Kennedys or the Ramones, nothing like that. It's not as aggressive, but it still has that attitude. Almost, it's not like the Violent Femmes either, because I would probably throw them in kind of a, they were kind of a punk-esque band, punk folk even. This is like, there's a lot of, it's just unconventional, I guess. It's an unconventional record, but it's a lot of silence in the album as well. Like between tracks there might be like 30 seconds of silence, or even during a track, but it's great. Great guitar playing, song structures are really cool. It's like progressive punk, I guess. I don't know. Punk adjacent, like I said. It's not quite punk, but in that vein. Kind of indie punk, maybe. All that being said, just check it out. See what you think it is, or if you like it. Yeah, pulled out a modern record, which I don't even know if I pulled anything modern out in the last video. I do have a lot of these up here above me, and even above that are from like the 2000s and up. So I don't just buy or listen to or collect old stuff. I try to stay current with stuff as well. And I guess this isn't even new at this point. This came out like 2014 or 15 maybe. Let's say on here 15, yeah, 2015. But yeah, Father John Misty, I Love You Honey Bear. Some people think he's pretentious. I would probably agree, but this is also, I think, one of the best albums that's come out in the last 10 years or so. Great songwriting. It's very satirical. It's also like a concept album, kind of. He wrote it and recorded it like right around the time that he was getting married. I don't even know if they're together anymore. I don't stay that up to date with him, but that's the end of the side of the record. But this is the last album that I'm showing. Awkward silence now. But great songwriting. His voice is fantastic too. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. He was the drummer for the Fleet Foxes on, like, I think Helplessness Blues, and did backing vocals and stuff. But he and Robin Pecknold didn't get along, I guess, so he kind of went off and did his own thing. And I mean, he's definitely made a name for himself as a solo musician, but I don't know. Chateau Lobby number 4. Nothing Good Ever Happens at the Thirsty Crow. The Ideal Husband, Bored in the USA, and Holy Stuff, we'll say. Those are probably my favorite cuts, but really, it needs to be listened to front to back. It's just very good. Kind of, I guess, showing maybe American society and kind of a Black Mirror type thing, but very good. Very good sounding too. I think it plays at 45 RPM if I remember right. I haven't played this one in a while, but love it. So that's it. That's all I've got for part 2 of my collection video series. I think I might be going out of town for a bit, so it might be a few more weeks until I get around to making a third one, but hopefully, I don't know, maybe picked up some stuff that you haven't listened to that sounded interesting to you. Yeah, that's all I got. I'll see you next time.